We all come to pray, going back for warriors, keeping the whispers away. In suits and in skirts, we're the rebels you say, talking about life and dreaming of a different day. On the back row we stay, in the back we don't sway, just let the sermon flow. We're on the back row.
It is time for another episode of the Cultural Hall. It is an Articles of News episode. In the next coming days, you will meet those who might be future co-hosts of the Cultural Hall. This day is not that day. It's the news wizard, Verlin. He's here. So what I like about Verlin is he loves news, and and I'm gonna say like a puppy, but I mean this, and everyone loves a puppy. Whenever I reach out to Verlin and I say, hey, you want to do news? He says, yes, can accommodate. Let's do it. Which, having been on vacation for a bit, is nice. But yeah, so we got Verlin, but we're going to try out like 5 new co-hosts in the next little bit. And I don't know if I'm going to do it like, get one co-host and have it be like 2 or 3 news stories with that person and then try another one, or if I'm going to try and do a whole episode. Don't know. Haven't thought that far. Thought as far as this. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Do I get to vet these other
No.
co-hosts?
What? No. What? No. Absolutely.
You want multiple opinions and ideas?
I do. Listen, okay, so good point. I like that. Once we share the episodes, I want people to say, that was terrible. I can't believe that you would ever think about that person, or really like that person's perspective, or, you know what, I'm willing to give them another chance. They grow on me. Like, people will say all sorts of things, and I do appreciate that feedback. I feel like the ones where we know it's not going to work, real quick, and then it just becomes the awkward way where you're like, oh, geez, how do I tell this person that their free labor is not needed? So
You've already said you're going to take care of that, and you won't delegate that to anyone else.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I had to fire people before. That's the worst. So I'll just do it myself.
Yep. One of those skills I hate that I had to have developed in my career.
Yeah. So lots of things, though. We've got lots of things to talk about before we get into this whole thing. One, a bomb cyclone, or cyclone bomb. It's bomb cyclone, right?
I love this new term for this.
Oh my
thing.
gosh.
It's been happening forever.
Yeah. But here's the thing, scary. I found myself in Southern Oregon, Northern California, coming up over the pass. And there was a moment that I looked at my dog and my wife, and I said, I'm not going to be the last. You're not going to be killing and eating me. I will survive. I'm not above this. It was scary.
Did you have to put chains on?
Well, if I had chains, they were mandatory, but I didn't have them. And so instead, what I did was I just gripped the steering wheel really tight, paid very close attention to the other cars that were going the other way, going, oh, that's a similar car. Well, we can do this. That's a similar car. And literally repeating out loud, I am in control. I am in control. I am in control. And my wife, I don't know that she'll ever do that. We didn't pay attention to the weather until it was too late.
Oh, well, it can get nasty up there for sure.
Yeah, beautiful. In fact, I think the picture for this episode will be one of the pictures. But you're like, that's a road? Yeah, we didn't know. Maybe it was. It got us where we needed to be.
You were following other cars.
Well, no, there was no. Yeah, we were not following other cars. Just every once in a while, you'd have one come the other way.
Oh,
yeah, no, we were not. With it, there was, and hallelujah that we weren't following other cars, because the multiple times where I was like, I don't have control of this car anymore.
Yeah,
there would have been other cars. We would have smashed said other cars. So yeah, it's a bomb cyclone. Scary.
Scary. Well, you don't want to get trapped. We won't take a long time on the story, but I'm sure you've read the news story about the guy that was trapped in the snow, and a plane flying overhead saw his headlights and called down and got rescuers to go rescue him. And it turned out in the long run that the gentleman they rescued had been a serial killer.
Oh my
in
gosh.
California and Oregon, and that's the way they discovered him, is by rescuing him in this snowstorm where he had been trapped.
No way. When was this?
This was years ago. Years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say yesterday. It was yesterday.
Yesterday. It was
Yeah.
Richie's uncle. No, just
Uh,
kidding.
yeah. So that's a thing. A second thing, back from vacation. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the interview episodes that I could post and share. I did get a couple of people that are like, what, are you never doing articles of news again? And it's like, guys, I can't, it's a little harder to do anyway. So hopefully people enjoyed that. I thought there were some good ones.
I'll thank my family for calling and writing in.
Yeah. Where is that news wizard?
I love those. It's tough to follow a couple of Olympians.
Yeah.
My gosh, what impressive people.
Yeah. And interesting to me, I don't think that it made part of the interview that I did with Lindy, but she didn't know that Smith is a member of the church. She didn't know that.
Yeah, I got that. It did in the interview.
I did ask her. Okay, I couldn't remember.
They need to get together and chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
And race. That's what I was thinking. You say race. Need to get together and race.
I thought it was curious. She said that they don't allow paraplegics to run in the regular Olympics, and I'm wondering if they're seeing there may be some kind of additional advantage if you're not using your natural limbs, if you were using artificial limbs.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, those blades like a robot.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't think that the times are faster, but
they were great interviews. They were awesome interviews.
Thank you. I actually I had forgot that I was going to share this. There's an email I got about this. This is from Carrie. She emails in and says, "Hey, I really enjoyed listening to the Lindy M interview. She's very inspiring and is a miracle on 1.5 legs as opposed to 2 feet and 2 legs." And then she says, when other people do their interviews, they never say anything. I appreciate that that's their style, but I also appreciate that you chime in every second that you can. Ha ha ha. Carrie. And I was like, wait a minute. I don't feel like I chime in every single. I feel like I'm allowed to, I allow people to have their story.
That's part of your genuine personal interview style is the minute the question comes to your mind, it comes out of your mouth.
Yeah.
And I think that's endearing. I think that's a great way to do it. It lets you find side tracks and roads. Well, even the guy from Ireland said he had never been asked a certain question before and a certain angle to it that you were able to ferret out because of your curiosity.
Yeah. And if we're being real honest, it's the ADHD. I'd never remember the question if I don't ask it in the moment. So superpower or curse, who knows? I want to
sometimes.
I want to share this with you. I'm not one for like inspiring quotes. You seem to me, and this is no sort of like, it's not a pro or con or anything like that, but you seem to me like you are a guy that is like, I am a quote guy. Are you a quote guy?
I'm not really a quote guy. We have a guy in our quorum who is a quote guy, and every time I talk to him, he gives me a new quote, but I can't remember quotes to save my life.
You don't have any quotes?
Was it Mark Twain that said it's better to leave your mouth shut and let people think you're a fool than to open it and remove all doubt?
Okay, so you do have a quote, and that's a pretty good
quote. That was not that I'm traumatized by anything my 8th grade journalism teacher said to me personally. But.
Yeah. Although I did burn that yearbook in effigy just so that I could be able to rid myself of the horrible trauma.
No, that was 11th grade math. Yeah.
So other than that, no other quotes, no other thing. Like mine is
nothing outside of the ordinary.
Well, then what's the ordinary? Because I think what you might think is ordinary.
I love Joseph Smith's quote. Teach people correct principles and let them govern themselves.
Sure.
I love that. What's another good one? Some quotes that I think are hilarious, but that I don't always use is, was it Boyd K. Packer that said, "We're a church of assignment. You make one volunteer move to be baptized and everything else in your church life is by assignment."
Okay. I remember I was my senior class president. We had to pick like a quote that went in the program. And I remember that quote, the best way to predict the future is to create it.
Nice.
That's a good one. This one is attributed to a bunch of people, but that which we persist in doing becomes easier, not because the task has changed, but because our nature to do so has increased or some variation. And some people apply that to like an apostle or a prophet. I think I don't know. I don't think it's either of those, although I think it does get attributed. Uh, the quote about us being in heaven, and people will ask, "In what time did you live?" And when you say Gordon B. Hinckley and a hush fall over the, I'm just teasing. I remember how the church had to say that's not actually a thing that was ever said. But all to get to this, I love this. I was talking to a friend of mine. Vacation allows me to be very contemplative, and he said this quote to me, and it has stuck with me. I have no idea who said it. In fact, I should probably say it and then search who said
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But the quote is, "That which you are not changing, you are choosing." And that has kind of stuck with me quite a bit since he said that to me. And
Interesting. Interesting.
and I don't know why. Maybe it's just a thing that, I'm like, I'm in this, I'm in this situation, whatever. But a quote to share. I'm not a quote guy. People that have listened to the nearly 1,000 episodes of this thing know I'm not like, hey, and here's a quote.
Yeah, but I'll bet you could pull out movie lines.
Sure. Oh yeah, I could quote a movie line. You.
Those are often quotable too. I like some
Okay.
of them.
Well, then let me start my question back to you. Give me a
Yeah.
movie line that you might quote, and take your time sort of telling it, because I'm going to look up to see who said the quote that I just said.
Well, I was thinking I would ask you to I'll say the quote and you come up with the source of
Okay.
that quote. So my quote is, "We're on a mission. We're on a mission from God."
Well, that's the Blues Brothers. Come on.
That's one of my favorites. I love that. I love that quote. I have
Changing our
a ton of Yoda quotes that I love, but I can never remember them in the moment, let alone can't do a good impersonation.
I'm still keep stalling. I'm trying to find this.
Was
Okay,
his
here it is.
quote, "Do or
Okay.
do not," something about try? I can't remember, but
Yeah. Okay, so Lori Buchanan. I don't know who that person is. Whatever you are not changing, you are choosing. A little more concise than what I said. Who is
how about "I'm a lover, not a fighter"?
uh I don't know.
Oh, come on.
No, tell me.
It's a Michael Jackson quote.
I'm a lover, not a okay.
Is there there's a
Yeah, but I
song
don't
that
but
Lionel Richie did that there's a line that says, "I'm a lover, not a fighter."
but the kid's not my son. I'm looking up.
Well,
You're making it really hard to figure out who Lori Buchanan is. You're involving me far too much on your riffing.
working.
She, she is a crime thriller author. Okay, well, great.
Okay. Well,
I'm
it's
glad
good.
I went down that rabbit hole.
Yep. Love that. There's always the Jay Golden Kimball quotes. I was talking to a friend while visiting a member of our ward the other night, and he has a reputation. In fact, I'm going to recommend you interview him because he
Okay.
is, I'll tease it here. He is the most winningest coach in NCAA history.
Coach K?
Nope.
Who is it?
I would give up on the Cultural Hall if you interviewed Coach K. No, just kidding.
Oh, geez.
Well, if I say it now, then people are going to be disappointed if you can't. If he's
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. Okay, keep it a secret. That's fine.
Anson Dorrance just retired as the women's soccer coach at the University of North Carolina, and he's a member of the church, and he has the most wins of any NCAA coach.
Ensign?
Anson,
Anson.
A-N-S-N,
Oh.
Anson Dorrance,
Is it
fantastic.
Is it Ansign?
Yeah, and Anson to the nations.
Ansign.
And I told him that about this show in podcast form, so he's
Mhm.
probably listening. And if he and Melissa are listening, my apologies. I'm sorry.
No, what do you have to apologize for?
Because I'm name checking them without
You
permission.
doesn't
But
drop it.
he, like many others, is known on the sidelines for having a very colorful vocabulary as he's coaching.
Ooh.
And so finally, someone shared with him that Jay Golden Kimball had a certain reputation for similar things. It made him feel a whole lot better.
Yeah.
So,
He may not walk the straight and narrow path, but he's crossed over it enough times he knows where to find it.
that's exactly right.
Uh,
No, fantastic man.
Anything else that you wish to kind of bring up here in the pre-bit?
in the
I know
pre.
you're a BYU football fan. That was a disaster. Jeez.
Well, so I'm a football fan, and I have to get philosophical when things like this happen. If you would have asked me at the beginning of the season to predict how many games would we win this,
Sure, sure. I know it's been the
seven,
season has been a gift to
seven
us.
games, 7 games. But you're right. Every good BYU fan, the minute that we do better, we expect to win everything.
Sure.
And so, yeah, that was terrible. I hate when a game ends at 1:30 a.m. in the morning my time
Ugh.
on a loss like that.
Yep.
Was not able to even think about going to bed until 2. I
Nope.
laid in bed until 3, not sleeping,
Yep.
and then had to get up, and thank goodness it was primary program Sunday so I could, stay awake and entertained with a grandson in the primary program.
Oh, is he the screamer? Is your grandson the screamer?
Oh, no, no, but he is the very clear enunciation of all of the words
Oh,
kind
good.
of singer.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a bow tie kid in your primary?
One of them is my grandson. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I love the stereotypes of the different things within the ward, but there always is. There is the screamer. There is the kid that maybe enunciating kid is this kid as well, but the one where you're like, "How old are you? 40?" You know?
There's also the kid, he was playing this role. He was doing all the facial expressions, like
Mm.
rolling his eyes at things
Oh
and
yeah. Oh yeah.
off to the side and giving the quizzical, facial expressions. He was very expressive. I think I see a drama career in him.
Good for him.
Yeah.
A life full of disappointment and having to do a bunch of jobs to be able to make a living.
Yeah,
Uh,
but I know someone who's paid off a house and
uh,
has now able to buy cars that at least look like they can run on the road.
yeah, that look like it. It's so funny. So we're still in the preamble. We're fine. That's the opening exercise. So it's interesting to me how yeah, because yeah, as you mentioned, so my wife and I we paid off our house earlier this year. I think I'd mentioned that on here. I can't remember if we did. I know that I did on social
It
media.
took me 38 years of marriage to do that.
Took you 38 years?
38 years of marriage to get a house paid off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had to get to it because I won't ever be married for 38 years.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. I mean, life
How old would
expectancy,
you be
there's
in 38 years? How old will you be?
life expectancy for me. If I live the age of an average man, I will not be married 38 years.
But Richie, you're not an average man.
Well,
We all
thank you very
know this.
much. Thank you very much. Back to what I was saying. The thing that when people think that like, oh man, you have your house paid off, you have so much money. Nope, 0%. I mean, or maybe like, it's a thing that I am grateful to not have the anxiety of it, and I'm not like, oh yeah, no, let's get another mortgage, any of that. That's not what I'm saying. But like, did I think that it would feel like Scrooge McDuck rolling in my, jumping in all that? Yeah, I did. I thought every bit of it'd be like, yes, buy that car. That's ridiculous. I'll buy that. Let's go here on that. That is not what it feels like at all. At all. At all.
No, no. I'm still a little upset. When we sold our last house, we made a fairly large profit, and they asked how we wanted it deposited in our bank account. Did we want it, a check? Did we want it electronic delivery? And I asked if they could put it in 2 large suitcases in $100 bills.
Yes.
They did not think that was funny, and they said no.
Oh,
I'm still disappointed. It would have been the most cash I will ever see in my life, and they were not willing to help out.
well, you know what? I know your family well enough. I think I can do this. If you do it in ones, that it feels just as cool. Like that they're not hundreds, doesn't matter. I got
But
paid
we
for a
carry the ones, I don't think.
yeah, well, sure, not that much money in ones, but you don't have to have that much money, is I guess what I'm saying. I got paid for a wedding once. I made an offhand comment that I wanted it paid in ones in a brown paper bag, and sure enough, a brown grocery paper bag full of ones is what they gave me, and the bride and groom were tickled pink.
That is so funny. That's so awesome.
So,
When we want to tell crazy mission stories someday, ask me about cash in a paper bag.
oh wait, now I got to know about cash in a paper bag.
Well, the quick version is the church long ago used to send out checks to each mission. I was in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. We
Okay.
would get a monthly check to fund the mission.
Huh.
And that check was a fairly large amount.
Sure.
If we took it to the bank, we would get the official exchange rate. And if we took it down to a merchant downtown and he gave us a sack full of cash, we would get 5 times the exchange rate.
Wow.
So we as assistants to the president would literally go down to the merchant, cash the check, put all of this cash in our backpack, ride public transportation back to the mission home, and put it in the safe. This is in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah. You know what you're not doing in 2024?
We're not doing that.
Any of that. Not even flying there. I heard about the shooting down or not shooting it down, but shooting at a JetBlue and some other plane. Jeez.
Yeah, my friends there won't let me return. They've banned me until they give me the clearance, and so I haven't been there now in 5 years.
And then one other thing, since we're going here. When I was out in Washington, I part of the time I was there, I stayed on the San Juan Islands, Orcas Island. I met Sister Hyatt and Sister West, 2 sister missionaries who were
hold them hostage.
Taken down. And it was weird. Hugh Grant was there. No, but tell you what. They know all about the movie.
Oh,
because everyone talks to them about it. Everyone.
Maybe they can have a mission viewing.
Yeah, probably not. I've heard it's not a hard R, but it's still R.
I've heard it's a good R. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I have people close to me who have seen it. So.
Yeah, I'm going to see it in the next couple of days, and we'll do an episode where we just round robin a bunch of people who've seen it.
I'm going to see it.
One of the things that I think is most interesting about it, someone said it relates to the temple experience, and I read a whole Reddit thread on that. So I'm interested to see if that is someone just trying to, draw things together, or if it actually does apply. So
yeah. So last week I was with my sister, and we were going to go out to the movie together, and I said, "Let's go see Heretic," and she said, "No way will I ever see Heretic." Because those kind of movies scare her, and she has a son who's out on a mission.
Oh, right now. No.
So instead, we went to Conclave, and I won't give it away, but I'm still wondering about the end of that movie.
It's when Stanley Tucci, he no longer tries to be the Pope, and he just travels the country and eats, right?
That's right.
That's the ending. That's odd. Right. Weird. Some weird flex I did. Sister Hyatt, Sister West had a baptism this last week. Congratulations to them.
Congratulations. Awesome.
One of the things that I did not know that sister missionaries could do, because they're stationed, like their home, their apartment is on land. And then they have to take the ferry to the island, to this branch. That's where the person that they met that was teaching, they have permission to have sleepovers at 2 members' homes on that island, from the mission president.
So cool. That's awesome.
I didn't know that. I didn't know you could.
I love when mission presidents give those kind of exceptions. That's well,
great. You'd have to. It's a whole island. You can't just, it's not like they're trying to be like, hey, we really want to. Anyway. Should we what? Do you want to do some news? Should we do some news?
Yeah, let's do some news.
Okay. We'll take a break. We'll come back in the second half and we'll do actual articles of news. BestDJinUtah.com is the website. That is where you go if you would like me to come and DJ your event. Now, will I do a family reunion where you all wear the same t-shirts? You bet I will. Will I travel to wherever you're at? Am I reasonable as far as what I cost? Yes. Do I bring a good time? Yeah, all the things. Listen, Best DJ in Utah, it's my company. It's a thing I do that allows me to be able to have the time to do the cultural hall. So if someone's getting married, you think, man, they need a great DJ. You're throwing a party, whether it's a 50th or 60th or 40th or 20th or whatever the party is. I've done them all and would love to be able to do that. An anniversary party, certainly done those. I did a baptism in 2023. Yeah, we did a big dance party at a baptism. Spoiler, not a Mormon baptism, but it was fun nonetheless. BestDJinUtah.com is a website. I will get back to you within 24 hours with a quote. Come on now. BestDJinUtah.com.
Imagine running a small business today. It's challenging. Imaging and internet presence is an absolute must. Even with that, you're still a small star in a bright cyber universe. Now, imagine you have someone who understands how to get your site designed for your talents and then easily searched by potential clients. Imagine Lennon Design. Whether it's strictly a website or a whole package of logo creation, advertising media, and promotional materials, Lennon Design is your partner in business. They'll test the boundaries of their imagination to create something unique for you. When you need creative, affordable design, let it be Lennon Design. Call 801-699-3022 or visit LennonDesign.com.
Here in the second half of Articles of News, we do actual articles of news. Hit it, Peter.
You can't lose articles of news.
And away we go. Now, that is Verlin, the news wizard, I sent you a bunch of news stories and said,
Like
hey,
530 stories.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. And I said, hey, why don't you pick and then tell me the order? And then, as often is the case, we're not going to do it in the order that you
I
said.
have to assume that this is always the case, and
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah, well, only because of this sort of breaking news, I guess. So if I said Lavina Fielding Anderson, do you know who that person is?
Oh, the name sounds familiar, and it's definitely a Utah name, Lavina. Come on. I do not know.
Okay. So Lavina, I'm pretty sure. One of the September 6. Do you know who the September 6 are?
The September 6th. Oh man, you're taxing me.
Not the date September 6th. Who the September 6 are? Oh,
I don't.
okay.
Don't.
So this is back in the 90s. There were 6 intellectuals who had written various things, and the church hierarchy excommunicated.
That's right. Yep, all on the same day. Yeah.
No, I don't think all on the same day, but all within like September or all like around the same time. And so they came to be known as the September 6. And Lavina, she continued after being excommunicated, continued to go to church every single week. And actually at Sunstone a couple of years ago, her and I were on a panel. Quick aside, it was about being excommunicated because I had to, and there was her, and then 2 other people who had been excommunicated. And essentially what they did in the panel was they allowed everyone to tell their story. Well, Lavina, being one of the September 6, a lot of people had questions, wanted to know her story. A couple other people had really great stories. And at the end of the session, I'm not joking, I had about 45 seconds. And I said, I got excommunicated for things I did with my girlfriend. Not what you're thinking. If you want to know more about it, you can ask me after the session. That is our time for today. And everyone was like, what the? That's what had happened.
Yeah.
She continued to go to church. This is Lavina, not anyone else that might have been in that story that I just told you. She wanted to be rebaptized.
Right.
And what happens when you are excommunicated and then you die is that someone has to ask, essentially, readmit for baptism to be able to be done in the temple, right? Having your blessings restored and have membership. So, Lavina's son Christian, because she had passed away on October 29th, 2023 at the age of 79, did the thing that the handbook says, which is, hey, you know what, I'd love to be able to do it, and also put in a little thing that said, hey, I also would like to be a part of it. I'd like to be there as a witness for the person who does this, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not on this one. If you are a man, you can be baptized for men, and women can be baptized for women. I couldn't be baptized for a woman.
That's correct. But maybe he could have done the baptizing. Sure.
Or like my wife could have done it, which would be a whole different thing if my wife's in the temple, but we talk about that at a different time. So he, as part of like doing this readmission, he said, you know what? Also, and added this note, I would like to fulfill her wish to be rebaptized in a holy temple. I would like to emphasize that though she was excommunicated in 1993, she continued to attend her ward faithfully for nearly 30 years until prevented by the COVID-19 pandemic and then subsequent declining health. The First Presidency authorized other individuals to do the rituals without letting him know until 8 days after it had happened.
Wow.
So
many mixed feelings now.
Yeah.
Mike.
So having had the opportunity to meet her, you couldn't have met a sweeter person, certainly. there is a book about the September 6th. It's interesting, the different attitudes of the September 6th. Uh,
Mhm.
where they feel about like the church, that some would still wish to be a part of it, where some are like, no, thank you. I don't want to. That's called The September 6th and the Struggle for the Soul of Mormonism, by Sarah Patterson. Anyway, so it is fascinating to me that would occur that way. And,
Yeah.
and I also, along with a lot of other people, feel like a lot of the things that were said, not all of them, but a lot of the things that were said by the September 6th are like, how when we look back at rated R movies of like 40 years ago and we're like, this is rated R, that like that.
Yeah, it's my theory on Pete Rose and being banned from baseball. If he did the things that he did today, people wouldn't even notice it.
They'd make him the president of the United States. Hey,
You're
oh.
exactly right. Yeah, yeah, totally.
Anyway, yeah,
So my
so
feeling good for her for wanting that and expressing that wish, and fantastic for her son for asking for that.
yeah.
It's too bad that she couldn't do it, have it done during her lifetime, and it's too bad that it was handled that way. That's terrible.
Yeah,
What a missed opportunity to create such a family memory and strong temple experience.
I don't get it.
I
Like
don't even,
maybe an oversight, right? Like maybe I mean, I feel like when you're asking, it's obviously going to have enough attention that like someone had to have paid attention to it. This isn't just like an AI thing that's like an inquiry was cited here, approve, right?
it has to be signed off by the first presidency.
Yeah, it feels a little bit more punitive, and I just don't understand that, especially around something like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, could it be an administrative error? Maybe they, click a button and it says, okay, this is cleared for the temple, and it automatically sends the name to a temple to just
Sure,
be done,
sure.
right? But in this case, I would have imagined that someone would have picked that up and said, oh no, let's pull this out
Yeah,
and let's take care of this the right way.
yeah. So that may be a future. I don't know. It'll be a huge episode, but I want to talk to Christian and find out about him, about her, about all that. So that is my news story that trumps your. I hate that I can't say that word without anyway.
Oh,
And by the way, I got appointed to the cabinet. I'm in his cabinet.
are you?
Yeah. Yep. I
Kitchen
am.
cabinet, or which cabinet are you in?
I am the head of the communications department for
Okay.
the White House. Yep. Yep. Yep.
I was thinking maybe they'd have a White House DJ.
Yeah. Oh, better. I like that. That's
But
better.
then I forgot that Melania hates social activities in the White House. She's known to complain. So,
Interesting. And also I'm going to go on record and saying that doing the Trump dance at this point, it's tired. Um, I,
oh,
I yeah, there
I
were
hold myself back.
there were a lot of people who did it over the weekend, and we're good.
Okay.
The dance can be done. What news story would you like to go to, knowing that I took that one from you?
Well, since we're talking about temple work and things genealogy related, now of course
Mhm.
I get a frog in my throat. Hold on just a moment.
Well, listen, I'll stall for you in a way that you can be able to clear out the frog in the throat. Uh, you know, one of the things around the temple being able to prepare names.
Yes.
Uh, I think I've indexed one time maybe in my life.
I have indexed a couple of times. I used to do it sitting in the church parking lot when I took my youngest daughter to seminary before she could drive, early morning seminary. I would take her, and in the parking lot, I would index and then take her to school afterwards.
Jeez.
But I still haven't done that many. But this woman, Sister Marilyn Clement, was recognized by her ward for indexing 1 million names. She said she started indexing 15 years ago after her husband passed away. She and her ward agreed that the feat warranted a celebration. They gave her a plaque at a Wednesday night activity for the ward. And her quote was, I didn't do it for recognition. I just enjoyed doing it. I live alone, and it gives me something worthwhile to do.
I think, yeah, that, a million names. It must be something you can do pretty quick because 15 years to do a million anything seems like
Yeah.
it's got to go pretty quick.
And I think it's faster and faster. It did get me thinking, though, if she could do a million indexing names, I wonder if anyone's tracked the records for how many baptisms someone has done in the temple, how many initiatories, how many endowments, how many sealings, how many, confirmations. I know when I was a youth, there was a gentleman in our ward who had the record for the most initiatories in the Oakland Temple, but I don't know what the number was.
Hmm.
And I think it'd be kind of cool to recognize those people.
Here's what I can tell you. There is one guy who thinks that he is that record holder and keeps track of it and
Yep.
and misses the point of the whole thing.
I'm sure that's
Like it's cool. Like this woman, like Marilyn, right? I've done 1 million. That's incredible. That's great. Thanks. The plaque was not necessary. It's something for me to do. But the guy who's like more than anyone else.
I have the record and I can prove it.
Yep. It's like the people, on the mission, the baptisms, all the things. It's just weird that we do that. Why do we have to do that? Why can't we just,
I think it's human nature. We all
I
like
know.
to track things, right? So check marks on the cave walls in France that are tens of thousands of years old.
I want to go to this story next because I think it's funny. And we are a humorous show available in podcast form on occasion. Informative,
Sometimes.
long lasting. Okay, I'll take that. This from the Babylon Bee. Costco introduces even larger Mormon family size. Costco announced this week that it would be rolling out new Mormon family size items for even larger families of a particular religious persuasion. The move came in response to demand in the area of enormous families that needed larger quantities than Costco's traditional portions to feed entire, and I love this word, squadrons of children. Quote, "We've noticed our usual product sizes don't meet the needs of families of 10 or more kids," said Natalie Carson at a press conference in Salt Lake City. "We believe this new sizing option will greatly benefit members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or Motkojkolds, as they prefer to be called," which I also, it's just...
That's an awesome acronym.
The new size options include a 9-foot-tall box of Cheez-It crackers, milk that comes in 50-gallon drums instead of gallon jugs, eggs that come in a gross rather than a dozen, and bananas sold by the tree instead of by the bunch. "I love this idea," Mormon mom Tiffany Thuison said. It's funny, I know a Tiffany Thuison. I went to elementary school with a Tiffany Thuison. "Now I only have to buy 10 grosses of eggs instead of 150 dozen every week. It makes shopping so much simpler." Costco announced the product offerings will begin appearing on shelves just in time for the holiday season, which for Mormons begins on Joseph Smith's birthday on December 25th.
Call out to a good friend who celebrates that every year with his family, and they tolerate him celebrating it before they get to the Christmas festivities.
That's hilarious. At publishing time, Costco had rolled out Catholic size options for families of 15 kids or more, or one childless gay couple, whichever Pope Francis decided to promote this week. Babylon Bee, so sharp, so funny, so very funny. All right, take me where you'd like to go now.
Let's go to Light the World campaign.
Light the world, make
You
it
remember
better.
last year they took over Times Square and they had Light the World on every single billboard visualized from, I think, 52nd and Broadway for I can't remember how much time, and kicked off the whole Light the World campaign. And of course, the giving machines. Now this year in more cities than ever before, I think 132 cities or 131 cities, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of different countries. And they'll kick off the big social media campaign that goes along with it, which is wonderful. We're getting a giving machine in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is a couple of hours away. And my wife has already signed up to be part of the staffing for that machine. She did not invite me. She invited another friend of hers to join her for an overnighter in Charlotte. That says something.
Well, she wants to go shopping and doesn't need you to tell her what she can and can't buy, Verlin.
Exactly right. That's exactly.
She wants to buy a goat, she can buy a goat.
Absolutely. And I love this. I love the giving machines. The first time it came out, and they had one near, it was near Rockefeller Center in New York City. And we went, and I remember we bought 6 chickens and a goat, which was very cool. And they had sister missionaries that were standing there helping people. They weren't proselyting.
Sure.
They weren't engaging except to help people, which I thought was wonderful. The thing that has changed this year that an insider has told me is in the past, for those of us that couldn't go visit a machine, there was a website we could go to
Hmm.
and we could participate in the giving machines there. My understanding is that website is not going to be made available this year,
Interesting.
which I thought was an interesting kind of turn of events. And I'm wondering why that is, if there was some kind of technology issue or licensing issue or something that's prevented them, because I can't imagine not wanting to do that.
Well, I feel like you can make those donations within like your church donations anyway, right? Money. It's not nearly as fun as doing that kind of thing.
Funny, but
But
online
also,
you can pick chickens and goats and all those kind of things too.
but similar to like a temple, if we got 106 of them, go to one of the 106 of them. Make
Yeah,
the
yeah.
make the voyage.
Correct. Do
Maybe
the
since
correct.
your wife is doing a ladies trip, you pack Anson in the car and
That's true. Yeah, we could.
somebody else, and you
What
go.
I'm thinking is actually you gave me a good idea. You said we can contribute locally. I think I'm gonna, on my tithing slip.
Mhm.
I'm going to put in the fast offerings. I'm going to put 6 chickens and
Do
the
it.
label there and see what the clerk and the bishop say about that.
Do it. Do it.
I'm going to do it
Do it.
now.
You know what you
Definitely.
should do is actually go to a farm and buy chickens and just be like, hey, your
Donations
problem.
in kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Just
just
drop
turn
them
them
off
over.
at Bishop Hanson's front porch. I'm sorry, I know you're a surgeon, but here's 6 chickens for you.
What am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with this? 106 cities in 13 countries. So
Okay.
pretty cool as far as that goes. You know, one of my favorite, if not maybe, it might very well actually be my favorite church meeting of the year, the First Presidency Christmas message. It varies depending on the leadership of the church and their storytelling ability, whether or not it's my favorite, because I sort of liked it in the days of um, President Monson, where it was just like, let me tell you a story, and you get cozy, and it's usually the first Sunday in December, and it's starting to get a little cold outside.
Born. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Something that you shouldn't eat that you need to take insulin with because you can't have alcohol. So you do that. And then you just watch the First Presidency message. And I really did. I'd love in a time in the past, we get a sled. And I just was like, yes, this. I love this. I love every bit of this.
Choir music was amazing. Yeah, still is, I assume.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they've got the whole symphony orchestra and all that. That's been an improvement in my time of being alive. That's only 25 years, which makes me feel super old. But it will be on December 8th, 2024 at 6 p.m. The Tabernacle and
Those of you in Mountain Time, but in Eastern, 8 p.m., of course, and
sure.
Pacific, 5.
Yeah. Do you want to tell them what time it will be in Australia too? You want to go through all of the
What's East Coast plus 13? It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yes, and obviously recorded, and you'll
Yes.
be able to watch it, which
Stream on demand in the church tools and library and media site and all of that good stuff.
yeah, so make sure that you watch it. It really is a great thing. And typically too, I think that it is I don't want to say generic enough, but that's I think what I mean. It is like just Christian enough that for my money, the neighbors, you want to have them over for some
Yeah.
wassail or eggnog or something like that. It's not going to be like, oh my gosh, those weirdos believe in Jesus and Christmas. Like it can be a good, hey, we listen to this and we have this and we'd love to have
Yeah.
you over and have that.
Great thing to do with the neighbors.
Yeah. And give them a sack of oranges. That's the other great thing to do with the neighbor at
That's
Christmas time. Where do you want to go news-wise? Take it.
Let's go to, since we're talking about the first quorum and the first presidency and quorum of the 12, of course, they put out their regular, happens every time we have an election. They put out an official congratulation message to President and Vice President Vance and said, congratulations on your win. We wish you the very best. Thank you very much to President Biden and Vice President Harris. We wish you the best for you and your families. And of course, if you remember, 4 years ago when they did that for President Biden and Vice
Mhm.
President Harris, there was a huge backlash, and they had to limit comments on the website, and they had to shut the comments off finally.
Yeah.
And there was all this stuff about the first presidency being infiltrated by liberal leftists. Well, of course, this time
No, it's our team. Our team
cricket,
won. We're good.
crickets.
Yeah.
So
Oh
anyway,
yeah. No, it's fine. Oh, it's our guy.
yeah,
It,
exactly.
I just
Your guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Here's the thing. I have I mean it is what happened, right?
Yeah.
A sweep of sorts of great proportion. Here's the thing. There are some things I have to look and I have to be very, very optimistic, but there are some things that I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
all right,
sure.
yep.
Yeah.
And the only way you get here to figure some of that stuff out is pick a guy like that or pick a gal like that. All right.
Can they make it happen? Yeah.
Yep. All right. Okay. But in 4 years, it's coming again, everybody. In 4 years, let's have some different choices. 4 years from now, let's think about what that might
Let's
be like.
improve places on both sides. I
Yeah.
have been seeing some great reaction, not just by members of the church, but by others in various church communities. One of my friends posted something on social media the other day, and he said, I've just decided that although that isn't who I voted for, I'm going to pray for them every day of their presidency.
Sure.
And he said, I believe in the power of prayer. I profess to believe in the power of prayer. I'm going to exercise that power for good
Mhm.
and and ask the Lord to bless him and bless the decisions they make and bless the good things that they do and hope for the best.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also hope that like one person doesn't wield all the power, I suppose. Right.
Yeah.
There's enough checks and balances, he said, hopefully, that
Well, he's naming great people to cabinet positions who can kind of safety check him. So
sure.
sorry, that was a Babylon Bee kind of
Yeah, no,
comment.
I appreciate it. Oh man. So that's fun.
Yeah.
What news story were we just doing?
We were doing the first presidency in Quorum of the
Oh
12.
yeah. So they said, and everyone was like, "Yeah, fine, it's fine. That's our guy. It's great. We won't take a big deal about it." I want to roll through a few of these real quick. Elder Holland, he's back in the saddle. He's in Dominican Republic, which I think is super cool. Here's the deal: near death. I would love to be able to visit with
At
Elder
a
Holland.
month unconscious.
Yeah, like Lazarus type kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Back at it, and he's got to be feeling pretty good because those Dominican Republic hospitals, they're not like your Salt Lake City hospitals, right?
Yeah, and it's a long flight back home. So
Yes, yeah, he's got to be feeling pretty good. Or the other part of it could just be like, listen, I'm gonna die doing what I love. My wife is gone. Let's just go.
oh, I love that approach.
They
That's
they
fantastic.
they won't release me, and I can't resign. Let's go till the wheels fall off this thing. I like thinking that's sort of the rogue approach that he's taking with this.
Great style.
But yeah, so there was a big deal about that, and people are like, "Man, he must be feeling pretty good." The 5,000th performance of the Book of Mormon musical on Broadway. It is now I think the 13th longest running Broadway show ever, which I thought is
Actually, pretty amazing
yeah.
for something of that topic to take on the popularity it's taken on.
Yeah. And I've got tickets. It's coming to Utah again next year. People judge me. That's fine. I'm interested to see because I have been told that it's changed a
Really?
bit. Yes. In our coming of age, some would call it awokeness, that there were even some things within
Oh,
that
you're
particular
right.
thing.
There were in the original script. If I've never seen it, I
Okay.
just read pieces of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be curious to know how much of that actually is gone. Uh,
Do you know if they released a video version? Can you stream a version of it? Like,
well, I mean, there are like pirated,
yeah.
like you can watch some through someone's phone in the theater kind of thing.
Is there an official release like they
No,
released Hamilton on video?
no,
There's not.
nope, no, because it's so offensive. They're like,
No.
listen, 5,000 performances, but let's keep it nice. No, they haven't. They had talked about doing a movie at one time,
Right.
and then they ended up not, and still obviously could. It's tremendously successful.
You know, in the playbill, do they still have the one-page ad about reading the real Book of Mormon?
No, they do not. The church stopped doing that.
That's
That was under a different administration. We no longer do that. So that's a news story. I want to catch some of these other ones. I thought that this was interesting. The single senior missionary, both male and female. Now, as a single sister, you could go and you could serve, but you had to be like companioned up with
another single sister, right?
Yeah, yeah. But now, is it 40? Is that what I remember reading?
40 years old, male or female, if you're single and 40 plus, you can apply and go on a mission.
Mm-hmm.
And you are not companioned up
Mm-hmm.
any longer. And there is a whole host of assignments that you can fulfill.
Yeah, like 1,000.
A bunch of different assignments,
Sure.
Which is cool. And that could be anything from area offices to mission offices to reactivation assignments, church history, family history assignments, a little of everything. But I'm thinking myself, I know a lot of guys that are, 40 years old and single.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say I'm a little bit of a stereotype maybe, but some of these guys sometimes are a little odd.
Okay.
I think.
How dare you, Verlin?
For some interesting, fun assignments.
I'm
just waiting for the day when they say any man or woman can apply to go on a mission. And, I come home from church one Sunday and say, dear, I know we've got 3 kids and one of them is in diapers, but I've just applied to go on a mission.
If you have kids in diapers, that is a different conversation that we need to be talking about. Here's the thing that I think when your wife gets tired of putting up with you, you'll be able to have something to do.
Yeah, there you go.
I think it would be cool. I say that sort of jokingly, but like to me, if for some reason I found myself divorced again, depending on kind of what situation my life was in,
I see how she looks at you.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I see it too. That's why I think it might be possible. But like I could see that. I could see doing that in a time.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I need 6 months and I just need to not worry about something and kind of just, refocus on getting connected. Like that to me, I think seems super cool. Now, I need you to be honest with me. Where would you go and what would you do? Wife dies, wife leaves you, puts you in a position where you're able to go. It doesn't have to be one that's on the website, which by the way, people can find links to all these stories in the show notes so you can actually see what you do. What would you do?
My first inclination, if they allowed it, would be to go back to Haiti and probably start out as an office missionary,
Sure.
helping support maybe even government relations, some of the things there that I did when I was a younger missionary. But I think I would be very tempted also to apply to go to Africa.
Okay.
So that I can experience the kind of growth and the vitality that's happening in the church there.
For sure about Africa. Funny that you bring that up. I emailed Sean Donnelly, is that his name? The guy that we interviewed a while back, and he was trying to tell us everything that was going on. We'll leave a link for that in the show notes. Everything that's going on in Africa. He's going to come back in January and give us sort of an update on temples and stakes and churches and what the work is and all that stuff. So looking forward to that.
A friend who just returned back from being mission presidents, he and his wife in Ivory Coast, Africa.
Oh, wow. So you know what I would do?
What would you do?
I would groundskeeper at the Kirtland Temple.
Oh, that's a great one.
Like I don't want all the other sites. Maybe if I have to have another site, I'd Whitney store it. Like give me the 2 properties. But if I could just be like meticulous, I'm there April to October. I take care of the grounds of the Kirtland Temple.
Well, and it said you can get visitor center assignments. So I would assume.
Yeah.
Well, you've just picked out 2 of the places where I've had the most distinct spiritual experiences in visiting church history sites.
Yeah.
Those 2 buildings.
It's pretty cool. Did you know that the Newell K. Whitney store at one time was a bar?
I did not know that.
Yeah, when the church bought it back before they did it, it was technically a bar and the lease or something like that. So it was a time when the church owned a bar.
That is awesome. That's
Yeah,
great. I
yeah,
wonder if they played BYU games at with the TVs on. Yeah.
probably not. Probably not. People did not take kindly to the church until like the early 80s in the Kirtland area. Real bad.
I
Uh,
remember I did the tour in Kirtland. I think it was 1981.
mhm.
Our family went to Kirtland and Nauvoo and Carthage, and did that whole tour thing. They were very kind to us. I don't remember feeling any kind of animosity at
Well,
all.
sure, the people giving tours are plenty kind to you, but the town was not. So,
Uh,
this we're done. We're gonna that was our last news story apparently. But because we're gonna go here for a second. So they when the Saints leave Kirtland,
yeah.
dusted their feet. Take,
Ooh.
take that, Kirtland. We're out. And
Yeah.
I want to say that it was President Hinckley, but not when he was the president, when he's like in charge of the mission department or something like that.
Well,
Um,
for that span of time when he was really the most influential member of the first presidency.
yeah, it was like the prophet, but not the prophet because everyone's health was ailing. Um, he and if it wasn't him, it was somebody else. But the missionaries weren't allowed to proselyte in Kirtland.
Wow.
And so they wanted to, obviously. So what they did was the missionaries would go around town and they would write down the name on the mailbox and try and see if they could genealogically connect that to one of the saints that had been there before. But
Gotcha.
really, what it was, because they couldn't proselyte saying, "Hi, we're the whatever," but if people engaged them, then they were legally allowed to do it. So they just acted suspicious so that people would talk to them, and then they were able to open it back up to teach the gospel there.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
A special place, very special place.
Yeah. Yes, it is. And I'm gonna go. I'm going back when the temple open house.
Well, at what point in time, if I remember correctly, you and Kurt were talking about doing some kind of LDS church history
Oh
tour.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What happened to that? Is Lee
Oh,
Saints
I,
just
I think he does them. People that listen to the cultural hall can't even write emails, let alone pay for trips. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is.
did they invite you to go on this BYU cruise that's coming up?
So, kind of. I had to sit through a meeting about it that was I I shouldn't disparage it. I hope to be able to do something like that. I think that it would be a fun thing to do.
It would
Uh,
go on the cruise, then I would seriously think about going.
yeah,
I was teetering on the edge with all
yeah.
the other athletic stuff. And Susan is not such a huge supporter of BYU sports, so I couldn't convince her. But if
She's
you were
not an athletic supporter. I get it. I got it.
He's a huge Carolina fan, but not so much BYU.
Yeah, so the thing that I have to figure out as far as that goes, and now everyone's like, this episode petered off.
We're
I have to figure out how, because I'm a real specific brand of Mormonism, and
Yes.
I felt every bit of that at BYU because when I was working at BYU, I'm not that. I'm not that, and I'm not any sort of ex-Mormonism, ex-mo,
Yeah, of
and
course.
I'm not like researching progmo, progressive Mormon, I just feel like people should know
Sure.
about the church that they're a part of and that there are,
Live on the edges, understand some of the things that are going on around the church.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
With a
I
little
run,
thrown in.
yeah, but not everyone loves that, so I don't get
But
invited.
not everyone has to come enjoy it. So what I'm hearing is there are like little subgroups that are being set up now on the
Sure.
cruise, and you can go, affiliate with this subgroup and then go to the main event with the sports guys or whatever.
Mhm. I
And
think
I know
it's
you're a BYU fan too.
sure. I think if they aren't separating them into ites, it is a branding miss.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
If it isn't, the
What would be
sports.
your ites? Would it
Yeah.
be T-ites or would it be T-ites
Oh, no,
or
no, no. People that like talking about church stuff,
cultural ites?
culturalites, Hallites.
Coors Lights. Oh, sorry, wrong.
Holland Oats. I got nothing. We did a horrible job at doing news. It's a good thing
We
we're gonna have
did
another.
not.
Yes, we. How
Yeah,
many
there's
did we do?
another
6.
10 stories, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, we'll do them. I'm gonna do them with other news people. Prepare for a deluge. Prepare for a bomb cyclone of
Ready.
LDS news. That's coming. Hope that this episode has nourished and strengthened your body.
If you weren't healthy enough to listen this week, you'll be healthy enough to listen next week.
And you know what? When the time comes, I hope that you'll be able to travel home in safety. In the meantime, Chris at Alpine Lakes Travel, Rick McGee, Debbie Wanless, Chocolate Cake Bites Podcast, and the Tiger with a U will be saving a seat for you
On the back row
of the Cultural.
Save me a seat, it's sure to be neat on the back row. We really gotta go on the Culture Hall show.